Hi, community. This is Donna Schmidt. Thank you for watching Eyes Wide Open. Tonight, I have a special guest, and her name is Michelle Blazer. She's an awesome channeler, and we're going to discuss some fun things this evening and actually channel spirit to see what perspective that they have as well too. I hope you enjoy, and if you like, share, and subscribe, that would be awesome for the algorithms to get us out there and get people to see us. All right, have fun, have a great week, and enjoy. Hmm. Yay, Michelle, it's good to see you. It's good to have you here on Eyes Wide Open, and we're gonna have a fun time. I just know it. I just feel it in my bones. So um, let's let's talk about some things. I got some things we could talk about, and then if you want, we can check in with Spirit and see what they think about about what we're saying about it. How's that? Does that
Yeah,
sound good?
sounds like an
Okay.
awesome idea. All for it.
So I'm hearing, on my Facebook page, I'm hearing social media in general, but also from within my practice groups and other friends and even my own children that there, and I've actually witnessed this myself today, that there just seems to be a lot of people that are just not very kind. Um, they're not very, can I say this nicely without being too judgmental, but there's like no respect, no manners, customer service. I don't think there is any. And they're not polite. They're just got an edge to them. When you ask a question, they just are not, the kindness is gone. Where did it go? And the respect. So I don't know if you've kind of noticed this with people. They have like a short fuse. And
Yeah.
I don't
I've
know.
noticed that a lot too. And actually I talked to Spirit about that. Like as as we're trying to be better people, to be loving, to connect with Spirit, it's such a the polarity in the world is really strong right now. And that is because that as we're elevating our consciousness to be a broader perspective of the world, right? And more of a focus of unity rather than separation, we are noticing that more. I don't think it's even really changed. I think the world's always been kind of chaosy like this, and we've always had wars and rumors of wars and fighting. But now it's creating within us an awareness of the polarity of the separation. And so I was asking how to navigate that because I don't like those people. They're mean and it just brings down my vibe. And but as light bringers, as myself, I'm speaking for myself, as a light bringer to this world, I'm here to love them how they are because they are just at a different frequency than us and they can't evolve out of that frequency without us. So what Spirit was showing me is it's not like a direct, helping someone not be a jerk, but by being us, by
Mhm.
being putting our love into the world and our light into the world, no matter who we give it to, it goes out there. And so we're actually helping them. But I think it just feels so much different because of our more awareness of it, of the good that's out there, right? That this bad is like, why are you picking that? Right? That's my perspective on it.
Yeah. My initial thoughts are it's like, whoa, okay, let's chill it a bit. It's not that big of a deal. Yeah. Um, for me, what spirit has shown me is to stay in my own power. So I agree with going out and being around people that might not be in the best of moods, and life is not going for them as well. But if I can stay in my own power, then that power expands out and it does have an effect on them, even with me not saying anything. And I really make sure that there's no facial expressions on my face that might trigger them. But then it always seems like there is somebody or something that comes along and shifts it and intervenes and says, okay, I can help them. And then it kind of puts them to the side a little bit so that they can take a break. But it is, I don't, awareness is, I agree, is a big part of it. And maybe before, as a person that can really sense energy in all forms, that I probably walked around before with a big energetic sack over me so that I would not feel anything because it was too uncomfortable, and then didn't know if it was mine, it belonged to somebody else or what. So I pretty much kept myself hidden from it so that it wouldn't affect me. And now that I know better, my awareness is growing. Now I know that I don't even have to feel it or sense it at all, except to recognize that, hey, that's a little lower vibration and something's going on. And is there anything that I can do? And I'm always told, just be yourself, be in your own energy and just expand it out and let the chips fall where they may.
Right, right. And that brings to mind a saying that I always come back to is that hurt people, and healed people heal people. And if you think about these people, they are living out of their root chakra, out of fear and survival. And so we are living out of our heart space, and some of us are even living out of our spiritual awareness, into a whole different perspective than them. And so me coming from growing up and the hard life and an atheist and then finding God, like I remember living out of my root chakra. So that's helpful for me as an individual, realize that person is, I recognize their why they are the way they are, and try to love them through it. But it's not easy, I'm saying. But I kind of think of it as an energy rather than um, uh, attack against me. We don't have to accept that energy, really.
Yeah, yeah. The unfortunate part that I'm witnessing is when someone is hurting and they're speaking through their own pain or their own past experiences, that filter that they have that hasn't been healed yet, is it triggers or tends to trigger the person that they're talking to. It triggers them, and then they begin to escalate out of their own pain as well. So if I can at least get people to understand that it's not an attack against you, it's not an attack about you. It is just a reaction, is what it is. It's not a good response. It's just a reaction to something that happened a long time ago, and this is how they defend themselves through the situation. And if you can get that far into it and just realize, and the phrase that helps me to help them, if it is directed towards me, is, okay, hands up. What can I do to help us work through this? Give me some ideas. Because now I've kind of given it back to them, yet I recognize that this situation is not a good place, but yet can you help me to help us together? And then we can maybe work through this and find a solution that's going to be beneficial for both of us. So not taking it on is a deep learning experience, but if you can kind of put your hands up and recognize, okay, stop, let's talk about this and see what we can do to work it out together. Then that way, there's an openness. There's more of a heart-to-heart connection. I got to tell you something that's really worked for me. Sometimes if my husband is really upset about something and his voice tends to escalate a bit, and so I'll just turn to him and say, "Hey, you're forgetting that I'm on your side." And that just totally just winds it down really quickly. So it's like you learn to say certain things, and then they work, and then you just kind of work from there. So there's always a way. I'm always into negotiation and open communication and settling it down. But when people are escalated in their own anger and frustration, you got to calm that down first. That
Right.
usually works. Yeah. My favorite for my clients that are in a position where um, they are where the public comes in often. They're often have to work with public. I had a client one time that was a manager at a bank, and she would tell me that there were just some people, if they had to wait in line, they would get frustrated. And so by the time they'd get up to the tellers, that they were just already kind of sniping at them and not being helpful. And she would go over and try to, intervene in the situation because she didn't think it was fair for her tellers to be,
Yeah.
confronted with this. And I said, um, well, the best thing to do when you have anyone that is upset, irate like that, is to remove them from that place. Like invite them to come into another office where you can talk to them, or invite them to step aside out of the line of fire where everybody else can hear. Because neurologically, when you move a person that's angry in that space and move them to another space, what happens is neurologically, they can't fire back all of those patterns because it's been interrupted. It's a pattern that's interrupted. And so now they're at a point where you can actually converse with them and do the, hey, let's talk about this. Let me find out what's going on so that I can help you. It really makes a huge difference. And when somebody hears somebody say, I want to help you, or I want to work through this with you, then there's no friction anymore. Now it becomes something that they can both work through together. So just another way, because things are just really, like you said, kind of out of control right now, I would guess. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I was also remembering that something I was talking a couple weeks ago is that so it is more about a lot about the energy, right? So if someone is living out of their root chakra and they have like shame or guilt or anything like that, that traumas that's inside of them, then when you come there and you have that light energetically, because there's so much darkness in them and around them, that they are turned off by the light, right? So we can't even take it personal when someone's being rude or mean to us or a certain way. But when I noticed, me and my friend have been practicing that, when someone does that, if you respond with love instead of what you really want to say, right? Or what they really, the energy they're giving you, if you don't respond with the energy they're giving you, if you respond with your kindness and your love, or just not say anything if they're, really bad, then that really creates a difference too. It is about our response too, I believe.
yeah. It takes two. It takes two to heal, or it takes two to keep the argument going. So just always remember that,
Yeah.
especially in personal relationships as well too. So what do you think about asking the guides? Ask spirit what advice or what other ways that they could at least even just explain to us what's going on and how we can best help.
Right. Yeah. Some ideas of how to, when we encounter that, those interactions, what's the best way? Because we don't always want to be a doormat, right?
Yeah.
So I'd love to ask spirit, what's the balance there between not being a doormat with standing in your power, but also doing it in a loving way? I think that's very difficult for me. Well, not real difficult, but you know what I'm saying. Some people are more difficult than others. So I'd love to ask spirit about that.
Okay. Would you like to go first?
Do you want me to talk to spirit first, or you want
Sure.
to?
Sure. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Um, Let me just center myself here and take a couple deep breaths and get relaxed. I want to. So, Spirit's showing me that yes, it is a lot about the energy that is coming in and how you manipulate the energy, because you are a powerful energetic being who does not have to accept that energy and bring it into one's own field. You bring your awareness to what's coming at you and transmute it with love. So how do we do that, Spirit? Let's find out that. By understanding the law of polarity, as we were talking about earlier, you do the opposite of the energy to the best of your ability that is coming towards you. So he's bringing my awareness to the teller who is upset and speaking harshly at this. I see this woman, he's speaking harshly at her. And so this other woman comes around and, within her power, recognizes that energy, transmuted it by pulling him aside, by speaking kinder words than the ones that are coming from him. So he's showing me it is all about the polarity of choosing different responses, because initially people want to respond with matching energies. Yes, and this is the creating the chaos in the world, and the perpetuation of the chaos continuing is an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. There are in many people's awareness and integrated into their subconscious programming that this is truth, yet it is not truth for the transmuting of the energies into a higher frequency of love and unity. Do we understand that okay? I think. What other questions do you have for Spirit about any other? He said it's always about self-awareness. Yes, about when you have a good sense of self-awareness, you know yourself and you know your energies, and you're able to recognize that energy is not of me, right? Therefore, you don't embody that energy. You stay safe with your own space, because you do have that power within. Your energy is yours for you to protect, to give, and to receive. That is the power of your choice. So therefore, making better choices in your responses would help the entire planet, because it has an elevation effect of growth as this energy, because the positive energy coming in, what you would call positive, is much stronger overwhelmingly than the negative. So when you create a better balance of lowering the negative on the planet by increasing the positive, it's not an equal reaction. The positive increases in frequency creates massive amounts of shifts in the negative perspective of hate and the polarity, right? So that's what we want to do. We want to bring the polarity together to a unity, not so much hate and mine, but love and us. That's what Spirit's showing me right now.
Thank you. Yeah. It's
What
good.
do you see?
Oh, let's see. Let's see what I see.
Yeah, maybe
What
a
I,
easier way to deal with all this, maybe.
yeah. Yeah, it's understandable, all of the disruptions that are occurring on the planet right now, with it is part of the awakening process, because it does look at both the different energies, if you can see on a scale, from lower vibration, higher vibration, because it's just frequency. It's just what's happening. It's like juggling a couple of balls back and forth. And the way to heal is to actually, when you talk about the unity, we agree, the unity in the middle of the finding the balance of it all, because not everybody is always going to agree. Everyone has their own perceptions and their own understandings, and it's because they're so lock solid in it that they're coming out fighting back and forth, because they're lot of fear that they're losing that. They might lose that. And that's being projected. It's being projected on the news. It's being projected through social media. And people are finding that it's easier to take a side so that they have unity around them in a group that they can feel safe in. And it is more so to learning that what you feel and what you understand can be communicated to others in such a way that it is not a threat. It is not threatening. It is just an idea. It's just a perception. And how can we look at things? I'm seeing like a figure eight. How can we take those two sides and come in the middle and find that what's called the sweet spot where we can either agree to disagree or we can find a way to balance it that each will uh, receive and get what they're seeking, but just in a more holistic way and more unified. And then that yields to a greater frequency, a higher vibration that we can all uh, reap the benefits of. Let's see if there's anything else. You have a question in with that as well, Michelle?
No, they were trying to tell me something about the energy of the planet affecting everything also.
Go ahead, they're paused.
Okay. Do you want me to talk?
Sure, sure.
Let me see what they... So as the energies that are coming into the planet right now, there are many portals coming into Mother Gaia that are increasing Mother Gaia's frequency. Mother Gaia is a conscious being, yes? And she is part of you. You are part of her. So as these energies come into the portal, that elevates Mother Gaia into a higher frequency, yes? That because we are one, we are made of Mother Gaia, that those energies affect us also. So even those not aware of that, so it is creating a chaos within the chakras and the energy field within the people, because it is breaking up those limiting beliefs, the subconscious, the deep traumas, all the hate in the world are deep seated, yes? So the energy coming into beings from the planet is affecting them, very controlled, yes, but it is forcing them to take notice of self, to take notice of others, to take notice of the things they're thinking and they're feeling and they're not understanding, yes? So the light workers need to come in, yes, with the love and the light to assist the fellow brothers and sisters. Yes, you might think they're rude, and they are, yes, but that is due to this, and you can see this. You can see with your awareness the difference in the energies when you encounter one of these beings that is going through the transmission of transmuting of the energies, coming in, integrating with the body, healing the chakras, yes, but as the healing, much comes out, much is released. And those that don't know what to do seek help from an internal way, but not yet with the mind, yes? So the more of the energy coming in and the more of the integration between the heart and the mind will help these ones, yes? Just as you yourself can feel these energies coming into your awareness, into your chakras, yes? And elevating you to higher levels. And you are elevating just as they are. And so you can bring to mind the things needed to be released in your own energy field and within their own lifetime of things releasing for growth and for love and for healing. Take note of this, perhaps shall help. They're paused now, I guess.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're wanting to show the intensity of really what's happening when you're saying it's Mother Gaia and the energy that's also coming up for her as well too. It is heightened. There is a heightened awareness that's happening, and this is why it appears and makes the appearance that it is so ghastly and so disproportionate, and yet it is bringing up what is inside the individual as well as those that are looking on as well too. So as those things arise, what's occurring is what is necessary, as you pointed out, in the root chakra, and then that comes up. It has an innate ability to be healed as it comes up and shows itself. And at that time, because a lot of the individuals do not have the skills or the appropriate tools to understand or the awareness to be aware that that is what it is, it's coming up, and it feels uncomfortable, and it is uncomfortable, and there is an immediate reaction to defend itself from harm. But in reality, it is just it coming up to be healed. So if the person that is on the other side of this, light worker as it may be, comes in and just holds that space and holds that space with love and respect, it gives them an opportunity to look at it and not only feel it, but let it dissipate as it's being felt. It's like this big boiling pot of water that you release the steam on it, and it just starts spurting out all over. And if you just allow the spurt to happen and just hold the space for them and say, okay, I'm here, how can I help you? And that at least allows them the opportunity to go down underneath all of that is floating up to the top and see what the core of it is. And a lot of times they will end up saying something that it relates to them, either in their childhood or in their personal relationships that's coming up, that where they feel this intense uh, feelings of disrespect, of not being heard, of not being understood. And so Spirit says to just hold that space for them in that loving piece, that they're going through something. It has nothing to do with really anything else that's going on. It is just the reaction to the energy being uh, diving in and just kind of lifting it up so that it can be seen and healed, and then offering words of wisdom, offering and they're pointing out a lot of times it's a good idea to check with Spirit and ask Spirit to give you the loving words that you can use that will guide them through this process and allow them to have a healing response.
Right. Good. I'm just they're helping me to remember, um, to
Mhm.
think of my own life, the people that helped me,
Mhm.
what would I have done without them, and I had this really good friend. She was like a mom to me, and she would always say, honey, you gotta love the unlovable because they ain't got no love. Where are they gonna
Mhm.
get it from, right? And so I always, kind of think that love the unlovable until they love themselves, and then that's a way like of making the world a better place, one little good deed at a time. And seems like that correlates with what they were telling us. So that's interesting. Love it.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Um,
probably everyone can have like an example of this in their life of someone that really got them through a tough time and what that felt like and what that meant to them. And my goodness, I could do that too. I could do that for another human being. So um, it could be a new trend. Wouldn't it be nice?
yeah, I think it just all goes back to that awareness piece, just being aware, awake and aware of what's going on around you. So
Yeah,
you not get blindsided, you don't get, and then you're oblivious and at a loss of how you can help. Yeah, that's
yeah.
good.
Like
Yeah.
hashtag don't be a jerk or something like that.
Yeah,
Love
for
the
sure.
unlovable.
For sure. Not perfect for that. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, I am there was a situation that happened today. My husband was picking something up. It was being repaired, and they just kept kind of telling him, "Yeah, in an hour it'll be done in an hour," or or this next day we're waiting on this, we're waiting on that, and so he just kept getting these responses to when is it going to be done. That was just putting it out there for days on end. So now it's like we're 3 weeks into this that they originally said it would only take, a few days. And so it was frustrating. And so he said, I think I'm just going to go pick it up and just take it someplace else. And I said, okay. So I went in with him, and immediately it was so interesting because I'd gone with him in the middle of the day to get this. And the person that helped him came out and asked him his name, asked him, what it was he was picking up. He told them, and then she went back, and then she came back and said, well, it's just not quite done. We're waiting for something. And so she said, it'll be done in an hour. And he said, okay. So I said to him, oh, well, let's just go home, because that hour, because they weren't really good in saying exactly when stuff was going to be done. I said, so I kind of have a feeling it's not going to be an hour. So we went home. And I had a podcast that I was doing. And then when we got done, I said, you want to go pick it up? And he said, yeah, because it had been a couple hours. So we go to pick it up. The same woman comes out and asks him the same questions as if she'd never seen him before. And and so he turned to me and looked like, are you hearing this? And I'm like, yeah. And then she went back, and then she came back out, and she said, it's not done. And so it's like, which you just said like a couple hours ago that it would only be an hour. And so that's all he had to say, because he just gave her words back to her, gave her words back to her. And she lit up. And the first thing she says is, well, you didn't tell me that this needed to be fixed. And it's like, I just went like this. Because it was so, it was palpable. Her anger was so like, wow. And so I could feel my husband beginning to respond. And I just tapped him on the shoulder and I said, don't bother, don't bother. And so her husband came over, interesting enough, and said, I'll help you. I'll help him with this. You help that customer. And so they switched. And he was like perfect. At the same time, I was like sitting in the powers, sharing my energy out there. Okay, here we go. And it just all went like this, just all collapsed, just like that. And he said, I'm going to take care of this. I'm going to get it done. And you can come back in an hour and it'll be done. Or no, he said 15 minutes. And so we said, okay, 15 minutes, we'll just wait. And so sure enough, within 10, he had it completed and the sale was done and we went on our merry way. But that's a good example about how things could just get so blown out of proportion and people just don't know how to respond. But thank goodness this man intervened and de-escalated the situation, because point being, he took her and moved her to a different location. And that kind of ended that in the meantime. And then all he had to deal with was my husband, who I'm standing next to him, just, spreading the love.
Yeah. And I'm thinking like if he would have responded back, it would never have happened that way.
No.
He transmuted that energy. He didn't accept it,
and
then the energy matching him came in. That's amazing.
Yeah.
It's a good example.
Yes, I thought so too. Yeah. Perfect for tonight's podcast. Since it's happening it seems to be all over the place. People are running red lights, not really paying attention. They're cutting people off. They're a good example for this is because we walk in the park every day. And so there's people that usually walk at the same time we do or around the same time, and they're walking their dogs. So we get to familiarize ourselves with the people that hang out there as well as we do. And so when we walk by, we always say hello, good morning, good afternoon, whatever time of day it is, and we get a response. But then there are some that are just like tunnel vision. They're just not in their bodies, don't even know where they're at. And they walk by you and you say good morning, and it's like there's no hearing,
Yeah.
no reaction, eyes down. And it's like, gosh, it's so beautiful. It's such a beautiful day. The animals are all scurrying around. The river is beautiful. How can you not be a part of that? Where are you at? Where are you at in your head, in your mind? Where are you that you're losing all of this, and it would be real healing if you could just stick around and feel it all. But yeah, so people are just mainly kind of trying to escape from it because they don't know what else to do.
Yeah.
So in doing that, they're not really paying attention and things are happening. So yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And escapism sometimes leads to, the failed marriages, the relationships, the addictions, because people don't know what to do, so they just cope with whatever they have. And I think that's a good reason for the drug and alcohol and abuse in our country. It kills so many people because
Yeah.
people with trauma that they don't have any help. So
Hmm.
they just do as best they can,
Hmm.
and who are we to judge them because they're, you know, who knows? Who knows what they went through? So it's hard to be with them, but it's better if we can change our perspective to their to see to them, right?
Hmm.
To what they need. Even if they don't accept it, sometimes, I in myself, I've encountered people that, oh, you need some help, right? And you try to help them, but they're not accepting of your help because they're just not ready. And just like in my life, I, needed help in certain areas, and I just wasn't ready to do that, right? But I remember even to this day the people that offered the love that came from that, so even if we could show kindness to someone that doesn't even really want our help, just by that kindness, that love going out to them changes the energy. You can feel it. You've talked many times tonight about just feeling the energy, right? So they can feel that too. They just don't understand it.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. And sometimes people just want a sounding board, and which is good at times because as they're expressing that and talking about it, a lot of times that gives them the reprieve so that they can make better choices and decisions because they're not embroiled in that particular energy. It's out of them, and then they can use their own common sense to help them in through what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they call that the icing on the cake.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
That's why people go to, therapy because they could sit on the chair on the couch and talk about all their problems, and it just feels better to get it off your chest, as they say. Yeah,
Right. Right.
yeah,
And to have that feeling like someone's listening to me, someone cares.
yeah,
A lot of
and not
people
judging,
don't
not
have that.
judging. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I think that's the worst thing that you can do for a person is after they've poured out their heart is then to begin to tell them what they should or shouldn't do. It's like you're not in their shoes. All
Right.
you can ask is, how can I help you through this? What can I do? And if they tell you something and it's something that's just out of your comfort zone or it's not in your value system, you can say, okay, that's just something I personally can't do, but give me something that I can do, and I'll help you in any way that I can with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, that was good.
Yeah.
You want
And
to add
also
anything?
yeah, I just want to add that also, sometimes people need to cry. People need to feel that. They need to have that emotion or that anger or whatever and get it out, right? The worst thing that I think we could do for someone who is, dealing with some trauma and crying is to hand them a Kleenex to shut up, stop crying.
Yeah.
No, let them cry. Let them get that out. Just sit and be with them,
Mhm.
That's, makes such a difference.
Mhm.
It shows them that they're allowed to feel this, right? And they're allowed to do it in front of someone else.
Mhm.
And someone cares about that. So I think
Yeah.
Sometimes you just have to like, oh, he's going through something bad. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? But you don't need to judge it as an hate with hate. You can judge it with with empathy and awareness and send some love to it.
Yeah. Just to add a caveat to that is if you just take the box of Kleenex and put it to the side of them, then it is up to them if they want to pick
Yeah,
the tissue out of the box or not. It still gives them the power. Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. When they're done, when they're ready. That's
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this was good.
It
I
was.
enjoyed it. I got a bigger perspective on what to do in the world right now if I run into some disturbed people, and I hope it helps everybody else that listens too. Huh?
Me too. Me
Yeah,
too. Yeah.
yeah,
Thanks for being here with me
yeah,
tonight.
yeah, for sure.
Enjoyed it very
Well,
much.
yeah, well, let's do this again next week. I'm sure we'll find another topic. I mean, there's plenty of topics out there. So,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be great. Sounds good.
Okay, sounds good. You will have an absolute wonderful week,
You too.
and let me know. Let me know if you use anything that we've gotten from Spirit, and see how that what the consequences were. Or
Yeah.
yeah, let's check
Sometimes,
back. Yeah, let's
like
check
your
back with each
husband,
other.
you get what you need. So I don't want any
Yeah,
confirmation that I learned this lesson.
for
But
sure.
I'm sure I'm going to report something to you next week.
Okay, that sounds great. All
Okay.
right, Michelle, take
Okay.
care. All
Take care.
righty.
Bye
Bye
bye.
bye.